Good morning. Happy Sunday. Today is March 2nd, and I am headed to church. It's been an easy weekend. I haven't done a whole lot, but as you can see, I did finish my hair. I crocheted. I did some Friday night, and then I kind of added more hair and cut it and all that on yesterday. So this is the new look. I just have it pulled up with the top ball this morning just to, I don't know, try something different. So as I said, I'm headed to church, and let me turn you guys around so you can see the outfit. So the team that's singing today are young adults. Their colors are olive, and a hint of camouflage. So I thought that I would kind of represent them today with the outfit. So these are just some camouflage shorts that my sister cut for me. And I have my express jacket. I have just I forget the tank that this is, and my Amazon boots and my pantyhose because it's actually cold outside today. So after church, I am going to get my nails done. As you can see, they look a mess. Not a mess, they're just grown out really good. So I'm gonna get that done today. But yeah, this is my outfit to head to church. So I will talk to you all a little later. All right. Hey y'all, good Sunday evening. The last time I talked to you all, I was headed to church. And so now I am home, I am resting. It's what, it's 4:15 right about now. So I plan to cook some spaghetti, something simple for dinner tonight that I could eat on for the next 2 days. Well, actually, I could eat on it today and I could eat on it tomorrow. Y'all, I'm having a colonoscopy on Wednesday. So Tuesday, I won't be eating anything. So, anywho, after just sitting here relaxing and just reflecting on some things, I decided to pop on the camera, and I've kind of had this on my mind for a while. I just didn't know how to express it or how to bring it to you all. But I wanted to bring it to you all, especially women my age. I am 53, will be 54 in July. And I kind of wanted to touch on it because if it happened to me, I'm almost certain it has happened and can happen to you as well. I want to talk about how desperation can lead you astray. Desperation can definitely lead you astray. Desperation led me astray. And I realized that during the course of my past relationship. And I recognized some things then. I didn't want to admit it because I felt like I had put time and effort and energy and had invested a lot in the relationship, that because I desperately wanted it to end in marriage, that I pushed a lot of stuff like to the back of my mind until I couldn't continue to push it to the back any further. But yeah, I wanted to come on and talk to women in my age group about being desperate. I want marriage, and I was willing to subject myself to unhappiness just to get married, to get that ring. Um, my last relationship started out really good, started out really positive. It was a different vibe for me. When I say a different vibe, he was a perfect gentleman. He adored me. He seemed to have adored me. Um, but he was also patient because I wasn't a huge communicator. I was afraid to kind of, say things for fear of pushing people away. So a lot of stuff I did not express to him. I just kind of kept it to myself. And so there were times that he would kind of, coerce me into, letting him know what I was thinking of what's going on. But that was kind of like surface level stuff, nothing real deep. And so, well, sometimes it was. I won't say that, but a lot of times I withheld saying things I wanted to say for fear of running him off and for fear of him not wanting to marry me. Now we met, and let's see. Okay, so maybe by the 3-month mark, we were in a relationship, committed relationship. We said we wouldn't date anybody else. And maybe by that 4th month, we kind of talked about marriage. And I've been married before. I was married for 8 years. And a lot of things that transpired in that marriage, what I can say about that marriage, in all honesty, is we probably had no business getting married because we both were immature. We did immature things to each other. And I was in my 30s. I thought I knew what being married was about. And by the time the marriage ended, I still, I felt like I had got an idea of what marriage was about. But I will say this: my first marriage, I was just ready to be married. Like, I didn't really think about. Let me back that up. I was ready for my wedding. I didn't have a clue of what to do in a marriage, and I realized once in the marriage that, wow, like, it takes a lot of selflessness. And a lot of times I wasn't ready to give that. I wasn't ready to give a lot of myself. I didn't wholeheartedly trust my ex-husband. However, we made it do what it do for 8 years. So after that relationship, I got into another relationship about a year or so later, and I stayed in that relationship for 2 years. And I had no business being in that relationship because one of the deal breakers for me is that I don't want to date anyone with small children because I don't have children. And at that stage in my life, I just didn't want to have to deal with baby mama drama, anything that may have gotten in the way of us building something. And so I know little kids take up a lot of time. And hey, I get it as a parent. That has to be done, but I'm not a parent, so I didn't want to really date anyone. Anyway, I ended up dating that guy because he was hella fun. We had hella good times together, but he wasn't husband material. So after he and I broke up, I was single for 5 years. And now I was in some situationships. I was dating people, seeing people, that thing. But to be in a relationship, to call someone my man, and to have someone call me their girl, their lady, I was without that for 5 years, and then in came my ex guy, and so I was missing out on a lot because I had been by myself for so long. So I welcomed the newness, and then I was into the dating apps, and they were crap. And you know, this guy, I kind of knew him from I'll say a mutual place. So he wasn't like someone like we didn't know each other, but I knew of him, and I thought it was a good fit. So when we got into the relationship and we talked about marriage, uh, a lot of things I wanted to lay out on the table, I wanted to talk about, he was not ready to talk about. He was not ready to disclose. And so, okay, I went along with it. Although I was not happy about it, I went along with it because I said, well, we're just 4 months into the relationship. And so, we'll discuss it once we get a little further along down the line. And that really never happened. What I did notice is that I think he could tell that or someone can sense the desperation in a person, because I felt like that carrot, that marriage carrot, was always dangling or dangled before me in order to keep me in line. And because I really wanted to be married again, I thought I wanted to be married to this person. A lot of the times I went with it. I didn't speak up. I didn't say what was important to me, say what was on my mind, because again, I didn't want to mess things up. I didn't want to rock the boat. I didn't want him to realize, oh, she's too difficult. Let me, move on. And so I took a lot of stuff. And looking back, I'm just like, wow, I really did a disservice to myself by not just opening up and speaking, saying what I needed to say, speak my mind in a respectful manner, of course, but not saying or not standing on what was important to me. And I felt like had I stood on what was important to me in the beginning of the relationship, it would have saved me a lot of time and heartbreak. So yeah, a lot of times we would bump heads in how we communicated with each other. And because I'm so used to communicating how I communicate, I didn't realize I was offending this person. I didn't realize that they were I realized after the fact that they were taking things the wrong way, when a lot of times I was joking or just kind of saying how I felt about something, and it was taken just way off base, way out of it was just taken out of line, I guess, a lot of times. And I found myself apologizing. I found myself, trying to not do that again. I tried to replay in my head, what did I say? How did I say it? Okay, like note to myself, don't say that again. Or note to myself, be mindful how you say this. Mind you, I've been in several relationships in my life, and I didn't have this issue with other guys I dated. And when I made that comment, I was met with, well, they didn't give a damn. They just was trying to get what they were trying to get. So they accepted how you were talking to them. And I was like, wow, like I'm not. Anyway. So again, I was left with apologizing. I was left with, trying to figure out what I did wrong. Then it became, well, if you don't change this, I can't marry a woman like this. I can't marry a woman who may, say this to me or talk to me this kind of way or have a slick mouth. And like I mentioned in the last one that I talked about, I can have a slick mouth, that I can. And 9 times out of 10, I know when I'm being slick. I know it because I'm being slick. But if I'm being accused of being slick and I don't even realize it, like it's not where I'm trying to be slick, and this other person is taking it as that, then we're going to have a problem, because I'm genuinely not being funny. I'm not being mean. I'm not being slick. We're just talking. And, I know a lot of times I choose the wrong words to say, and I'll back it up and try to correct it and think of a better word to say. But I found myself being negative a lot. I found myself feeling like I was walking on eggshells a lot. I felt like I was just disappointing to this person. It was like the relationship, to me, it felt like I was dissatisfied in something that should be satisfying. And I felt that way for him. I felt like it was dissatisfying for him, and it should have been something that was satisfying. But because I was hard up for a second marriage, I kind of went along to get along. And, I don't know, a lot of times I didn't advocate for myself when I should have. And so I'm making this video because I want to express to women that at our age, you need to advocate for yourself. You need to speak up for yourself. If it's important to you, speak on it. Ask the questions. If the person feels uncomfortable speaking on that, then, let that be something that, I don't want to call it a red flag, because it could be early on and maybe the person just isn't ready to disclose that information. And I get that. But at some point in the relationship, if it's important to you and you're talking about marriage and creating a life with this person, then, some stuff will need to be spoken upon, brought up, discussed. And, I feel like it would save a lot of heartache, a lot of disappointment going forward in the relationship. So, as older women who have, who seek marriage, I say just, be easy, enjoy your life, date yourself, go out with your girlfriend, spend some time alone, get to know you. And although I got to know me, or I thought I got to know me in that 5 years I was single, I didn't really get to know me, because, in this last relationship, that same person was, on me about, you need to seek counseling. You need to talk to someone. Because if you don't get this worked out, we can't, basically saying he wasn't going to marry me, or it was like a threat of the mere fact that if I didn't fix me, we weren't getting married. He wouldn't be marrying me. And so then I was left in a panic, trying to fix everything, trying to figure out what I did wrong, trying to figure out how can I correct it, trying to figure out how can I fix me. And so in trying to fix me, I sought out a therapist. And I remember in the first meeting that we had, she expressed, she didn't express it then. She was just getting all the information from me for, our session. And, fast forward some weeks down the line, when we look back on my first visit, and I basically was like, hey, I'm here because, I'm in a relationship. My guy is telling me that I need help. My guy's telling me that if I don't get, seek help or talk to someone that, um, he can't marry me. And so I need you to basically fix me or tell me what I can do so that I could get right so that I could marry this man. And we laughed about it because I remember times during our therapy session, she would have to remind me and loop me back around into talking about me and what's going on with me and not my relationship, because my therapy session was not about my relationship, it was about me. And when I started to focus on me, some of the exercises that we did in the therapy section, I realized that I didn't have a voice. I didn't speak up for myself. Now, don't get me wrong. I'll speak up for myself if I feel threatened, I feel like, or we're arguing, what have you, I'm going to stand up for myself. But if it's something that may be important to me, but I feel like it may hurt your feelings or I feel like it may make you feel a ways, then I won't say it. I'll just not worry about it. I'll figure it out on the back end. Yeah, I wasn't advocating for myself. I didn't have a voice. And going to therapy a few months later, I had found my voice. And that's when I remember she and we laughed because she reflected back and read the notes from my first session, and she was like, it was all about you were trying to fix yourself for him. You were trying to be this better woman. And I remember her saying, I commend you for wanting to make, this potential marriage work. You want to figure out what's going on with you so you don't make the same mistakes that you made in your last marriage and bring them into this potential marriage. And so I wanted to be a better me. And I started to focus on me and come to the realization, in a lot of my relationships, I didn't choose those guys. They chose me. And because they chose me, I was happy. Okay, somebody chose me. I'm in a relationship with them. And then realize down the line that I don't even want to be with them like that. I don't even like them like that. We don't even get along like that. Because I didn't take the time to figure out what I wanted. It was solely based on someone wanting me and that making me feel special. And so when I got into my therapy session, I realized that, girl, you've been operating all wrong. And then when I thought about the current relationship that I was in, I had to ask myself, that's when I started asking myself those questions. Are you sure this is what you really want? Are you sure this is the relationship you want to be in? Because I didn't feel comfortable. He made me feel safe, but I didn't feel safe in being able to talk how I wanted to, express myself how I wanted to. I felt like I may be judged. I felt like he may look at me, another way. He may not be attracted to me anymore. It was all these things. And all that crap wasn't important. It was not important. I realize that now. But I wanted to just remind us not to operate out of desperation, because doing so, you will find yourself in a situation that you most likely shouldn't be in. And that's desperate for friendships. That's desperate for relationships. Just be easy and take the time to figure out what it is that you want. Forget what everybody else wants. Of course, you're a kind person. You're, a gentle person. You're, a good person. But you still have to figure out what it is that you want. Because I found myself being miserable, and the other person that I'm in a relationship with, they were happy and, living life, loving life. And I was miserable because what I wanted wasn't being done. And And I remember, throughout the course of the relationship, a lot of times when I expressed myself about what I wanted in the relationship, I still really didn't. I won't say that. I won't say that. I won't say that. Anywho, I made the video just as a reminder that there's still life after 50. There's still love after 50. We don't have to be in such a rush to find the true love or to try to force a relationship to work that may not be your relationship, that may not be your person. And, you're so busy trying to force it because you feel like time isn't on your side. You feel like you're getting older. You feel like some of you ladies may not have been married. You feel like you've never been married and you want to be married again. I loved marriage. I just married the wrong person. I feel like when I look back, and I remember my ex-husband apologizing to me when we divorced, saying that he was a better boyfriend than he was husband. And in all honesty, he was. He was the best boyfriend, but he sucked at being a husband. And I remember saying, after that, I don't ever want to be married again. I'm good on that. But then, my heart softened over time. And I realized, I love the constitution of marriage. I love being with that someone, having my own someone that's going to be there for me, someone that, I know I can rely on if I pick up the phone and need help, and they're going to answer and they're going to call, or if they don't answer, they're going to call right back. They're going to answer right away. To make sure that I am good. Someone that's going to be home when I get home, and someone's going to be waiting for me and looking for me and expecting me at whatever moment. I love all of that. I love to cook. I love to take care of my person. And that's another thing that I realized too, that I wasn't in the right relationship, because I felt like doing the things that I love kind of felt like a chore. I don't know why it felt like that, but it felt like a chore. And I think I know why. It felt like a chore because I felt like I was giving them what they needed, but they weren't giving me what I needed. And so because I felt like it wasn't reciprocal, it was a burden to me. It was a burden on me. Yeah. Life is so funny. So, yeah, that's basically it. I just wanted to share that little bit. It hit my spirit to just get on, because I had been trying to think about, how am I going to say this? How am I going to work this into, one of my videos? And something hit me just as I was sitting here on the couch about to take a nap, to go ahead and get on camera and record something and talk about and be transparent and talk about, how desperation can mess you all the way up. I'm glad it's crazy that I went to my therapy session, because he was, you need to see a therapist. You need to talk to someone. You need to talk to someone. And then I found a therapist and I talked to that someone. And in talking to that someone, it shifted my whole being. And in shifting my being, I realized that I wasn't supposed to be with that person that suggested that I go to counseling. And I asked my therapist, I said, does that happen a lot? She said, in dating, yes, it does. It happens more often than we think. So I appreciate him suggesting that I go to therapy, because I did indeed need it. I realized that I had been operating the same way all these years, not advocating and not speaking up for myself for fear of hurting someone's feelings, or for fear of abandonment, that they wouldn't want me, that they would leave me. And so to operating in fear of them doing that, I kind of went along to get along. And a lot of, things that I was caught up in, probably had no business being caught up in. So, yeah, with that, I will say, I hope you all got a message out of what, I just talked about, and can relate. Let me know in the comments if you can relate. If at some point in your older years, over 40, I would say, that you found yourself operating out of desperation, out of, the time that you've put into the relationship, the effort you've put, the money you've put, the whatever you've put into it, you want to see it through. You want to see it come to pass. Whatever it was you had in your mind was going to come to pass. You want to see it through, even at the detriment of you and your happiness. And I'm so thankful that I found this out before accepting an engagement. I don't even know, like, he told me that, we were going to be engaged. He took the trip that our so-called engagement trip. He went on that without me because at that time we had broken up and the trip was already taken care of, I guess. I don't know. I can't wholeheartedly say that I even know that to be true. I'm just basing it on what he expressed to me. And so I kind of, I'm sure, I don't know, I think he may still watch my videos. And so I didn't, sorry, that's the ice maker. I didn't want to come off as though I was talking bad about him. Our paths crossed along the journey of my life, and this was a time that I found me. I was in search of help and trying to fix me, that I actually found me and stood up for myself and realized that a lot of things that were going on in my relationship, I didn't like it. I didn't want it for myself. I didn't like it, and I couldn't see myself being married and dealing with that for the rest of my life. I just could not. So yeah, that's it. Happy Sunday. Like I said, I am going to cook me some dinner and just some spaghetti, nothing special. And kind of clean up a little bit around here. Last night, I had a good time on my couch again, but I washed and folded up clothes, so I got clothes sitting over there that I need to put up. I got stuff on my bed that I need to put up, and the clothes I took off from church I need to put up. So just, doing a little picking up. I think I'm going to take a bubble bath tonight too. Just to relax myself. And yeah, I'm glad I don't have to do hair, just hair. I hope it looks good on camera. If not, I'll only have it in for about 2 weeks, so y'all won't have to look at it too much longer. But yeah, that's it, y'all. Happy Sunday, and I will touch base with y'all a little later. morning, fam. Yes, I am fully dressed on a Thursday morning, and I am headed into the office. Hey, y'all. I kind of rushed out of the house, so I wanted to pick back up just to say I am, believe it or not, headed to work. For those of you that don't know, I work from home, fully remote. However, my boss is coming into town. Well, she's into town, and so we are going into one of the offices that they have here in Atlanta, in the perimeter area. To meet, we had to reserve space because we... Ooh, y'all, I lost y'all. Hold on. Y'all, I'm back. Okay. It's probably going to be different because I am driving and trying to vlog. Lord knows I don't need to do that, but I just wanted to come on and say good morning, happy Thursday. I am headed into the office to meet my boss for the very first time. She came into town yesterday, and we are going to have our performance review, and I get to find out what my bonus is. Yes, we still get bonuses at my job, y'all, and they are freaking good bonuses, so I'm looking forward to that. But I am now on the highway headed to work, and it's not going to be a full day. We're just going to go meet for a few hours, go and have lunch. And then she's going to head back to the airport to catch her flight. She has come in from Virginia. So me and a couple of my other co-workers are going in. Well, it's only 3 of us, so we're all going in to meet her for the first time. She's been our boss for like 2-3 years now, and we've seen her on video, conference, but never have met in person. So we'll get to do that today. So I just wanted to pop in and say, hey, y'all. I know y'all don't usually see me leaving the house headed to work, but today I am. And so I'm going to finish my makeup once I get there or get closer there. I did some of it. I don't know if you can see. And my hair, y'all, I don't know if I'm feeling this hair. It's a lot for me. The tangling, it's big, and I don't know, I'm just not used to it. So I will probably be getting braids again. So I don't know if I mentioned that I am interested in having micro locks, but I also have a relaxer. Now I am in the process of growing out the relaxer. I haven't had a relaxer now for a few months. Well, back in maybe sometime in September, October, I had my last relaxer. So I've just, I had braids for a minute, and then I put this crochet style in. And so I am going to DC next week. And so I don't think I want to wear this hair. I think I want to go back to my braids, and then I will go to a stylist and kind of let her cut some of the relaxer out. Get a good shampoo and moisturizing treatment, and then probably will go back into braids because I don't want to do the big chop. I did the big chop already. I don't want to go there. So yeah, anywho, I'm just talking at this point, and I need to be focusing on driving. So I will catch up with you all later. Have a great, prosperous, productive Thursday. All right, I'll holler at y'all later. Hey y'all, good evening. It is Thursday evening, and I just got home from work, and it was a beautiful work day today. I mentioned earlier that my boss came to town, and so we sat around talking. We had our team meeting that we usually have on Thursday. We sat down at the cafe and had coffee and chai tea and just talked and laughed and talked about some work stuff in the mix. And then we had our reviews. My review was absolutely amazing. And then we went to eat at the Cheesecake Factory before she caught an Uber to the airport. So I finally made it back home, and of course, while I was out, I stopped by my favorite place, Trader Joe's. Got me more flowers. You see them there. I also got some other little things that's not really worth mentioning. But my boss presented us all. So it's funny because when we walked down to the cafe, we saw a florist in the building, and she was like, "Oh, let me go check the florist out. I love fresh flowers." And so she went in, and she was in there for maybe 2-3 minutes. She came back out. We went, back upstairs. She did my review, and then she told one of my other coworkers to walk with her downstairs. She needed her badge because her badge didn't work. She's, not in the Atlanta office, so her badge didn't work. So my coworker comes back and she walks past me holding her arrangement, and she was like, "Look what I got. I'm special." And I was like, "Oh my God, I love fresh flowers." And then my boss came around the corner, and she had my set of flowers and my other coworker's set of flowers. So y'all, this is what she got us when she when she came. So I'm all over the place. So look, she's got us a box of chocolate fudge, and she had ran into the florist and got us some flowers, got us all little small bouquets of flowers. Isn't that nice? Like, I was so surprised. She paid for our coffees and whatnot this morning, and of course she paid for our meal today at lunch. And so this is my bouquet. This is my box of fudge. And I also got, so this is my leftover burger. So my coworkers don't know that I vlog, so of course I was not going to put my camera out. But this is a smokehouse burger. I'm not going to open it up and show y'all because it's almost half eaten, and so I'm going to eat that for my dinner. We all got a slice of cheesecake, and I just got the regular flavor because I'm really not a cheesecake person. But the last time we ventured out to Cheesecake Factory, that cheesecake was slamming. So I said, why not get another one since it's on the company's dime and enjoy it? So from Trader Joe's, of course, I got the flowers. I got some hand spray sanitizer that's like, small enough to go into your purse. Got that. I got this lemongrass coconut body oil. I love this stuff. I haven't gotten it in a long time, but decided to just go ahead and get it today. I got some roasted garlic hummus. And I got some matcha green tea powder. I also got I got 3 of the oatmeals here, the steel cut oatmeals. And I got a package of the mandarin orange chicken. And that's it. And of course, my flowers here that I'm going to arrange when I come back from the gym. So, Lord knows I don't want to go to the gym, but I have been doing quite well. I have been going to the gym every day. And I couldn't go yesterday because I had my colonoscopy, but I went Monday and Tuesday. So now I'm going to change my clothes and go to the gym. Try to get there before it gets too packed. It is now 4:39. It's probably already packed, but it is what it is. So I will chat with y'all a little later.